because I've given birth to 4 children. I'm very blessed to have 4 natural births. But, I could have had 2 or 3 cesareans. I would have still had a beautiful baby. So the method of natural versus cesarean, there's 2 different approaches, 2 different ways of delivering. And somehow I think with traditional and self-publication, you've got 2 different methods. Both of them are equally valid.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Unfiltered Voices, the podcast that is all about busting the myth that self-published is second-rate. I'm Kelly Nissen. I'm an author coach and a self-published author, and I'll be talking to authors, illustrators, and other self-published industry professionals about their choices, their journeys, and everything in between. So stick around. I'm Kelly Nissen. Today, I'm talking to Marg Gibbs. Welcome to Unfiltered Voices, Marg, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kelly. It's really a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you.
So just a little bit of background information about Marg. A storyteller and a poet at heart, Marg Gibbs is a Queensland children's author who loves words that sparkle and illustrations that breathe imagination. She finds inspiration from nature, shop windows, and talking to people. Marg believes that every child deserves to find the books that fuel their passion for stories, encouraging creativity, empathy, and connection. So, Marg, your catchphrase is write from your heart and make lists in life. Can you expand on that and just talk a little bit about how that catchphrase relates to some of the books that you've published?
Well, very much so. The writing from the heart is something that I believe in for me. I'm digging deep into my emotions and I'm writing with compassion and care and love. It's like a little love letter to whoever's out there. So, with digging into my heart, I think firstly of my grandchildren, my family. So, poetry has been very much a heart feel for me. So, the books that I've self-published have been The Goose at the Gate, which is a very special one to me because
Lovely.
Goose, my
Yes.
grown-up children call me Goose, as in like Mother Goose. I have a poetry book called I'm a Viking Kid, and that was definitely written from the heart to my son for his birthday, a 40th birthday. And there are other poetry books like Tomorrowland and The Kingdom of Rooms and Goose on Christmas Eve. So when I talk about heart, I'm talking about the warmth inside of me that just oozes when I start to write poems. And when I'm writing children's stories, I also think of the heart inside the characters that I'm developing. When it comes to list writing, well, I use lists basically, Kelly, to clarify my thoughts and my thinking. I'm always writing a list on either little sticky notes or the back of receipts and dockets. I have a lot of envelopes, the back of envelopes of bills that I just write down little dot points. Sometimes my list making is what I do today, what I've got to do during the week. So I like to handwrite these lists. So it could be just a simple thing like edit story, contact Joe, write the back of the blurb of something. Don't forget to email such and such. Send this story to a firm. I'll use a bit of color and I'll use anything that will stand out on the list. And when I finish with the list, I tick it off and then I throw it in the rubbish bin.
Yeah. So I think too, like you say, that you handwrite those lists. I find that, if I handwrite something, it cements in my memory a little bit better, but it also frees up the creativity, whether you're writing a list or whether you're, writing a manuscript. I'll often write a manuscript by hand as well initially, and then do the edit when I type it up. So yeah, I mean, that's good. And I think making lists it's simple and it's straightforward, but it's very powerful in a lot of ways. So I love that, and I love that writing from the heart for your family and friends and that sort of thing. I think that's beautiful. So you do have a quite a long and varied list of titles that you've published. You've done mid-grade and junior fiction as well, or is
I've done some junior fiction, that's
Mhm.
right. And I've got Jessie Wins Through, a little chapter book, and
Yep.
The Waiting Room of Weather Vane Vet, a little mystery story involving Lenny and his cranky uncle and a farm of rescue animals. So I
Oh,
had
that
that,
sounds intriguing.
yeah, I had that edited, and the junior fiction really just extend my love of a picture story into a longer version of a story. And
Yes.
now I'm immersed, totally immersed, Kelly, in middle grade. I,
Yes.
I'm really looking forward to perhaps self-publishing one book, but also sending two out into the world and maybe seeing, feeling for the possibility of a traditional contract. But
Yes.
however, I've really excited about the middle grade process because it's pushing me further into the whole story arc and to
Yes.
getting to know the themes and developing the characters, and I'm not really loving that.
Yes, it is currently my my favorite genre to write as well in mid grade, because I think you can develop the characters for further. You can say that little bit more. Plus, there is that challenge. I think the complexity of the plot line and the B story and all that sort of thing. So I think it's good to flex your creative writing muscles and try different things. Have you done any YA, young adult?
No, no.
No.
I used to teach high school secondary,
Ah,
and many years ago, like in my 30s, I thought that I would love to do a YA because I was involved with a lot of adolescents, and there was a lot of issues on in the world of high school, everything from self-harming to depression, things that just repeat themselves today. But I was
mm,
thinking maybe I could do that, and I remember starting a chapter, and then I just let it go. I let it go. Um,
yeah. Sometimes it's not quite the right thing, or if it doesn't grab you. I think a lot of people talk about, you know, being able to write widely, but also having their comfort zone where they feel at home with their writings. So, that's lovely. So long and varied list of titles. So what inspired you to actually to start writing? And bit of a double-barreled question, this one. And how did your journey into self-publishing begin?
well, what inspired me started a long time ago when I was a teenager. I loved reading Under Milkwood by Dylan Thomas.
Of course,
And the
yes.
words just absolutely blew me away. I loved listening to it on the radio, and I loved the way he captured the imagination. So
Mm,
language, words, how the words come across, all those sorts of descriptions have inspired me.
mhm.
And I guess nature, being out in nature, bushwalking, looking at the trees, smelling the flowers. But words are the thing. I cannot believe that in with 26 letters in an alphabet,
Yes.
you can create thousands and millions of books with words in them. And there are pictureless books
Yes.
without words. But for me, it was the words that touched me, motivated me, awakened me. And so that's why I started with the poetry idea, even my school magazines.
Mm,
Um, as for my grandchildren, well, they have come along in the last decade or more, and they've inspired me definitely with their milestones, what they're doing, how they're
yes.
viewing the world. And I think writers have to pay attention, and I do pay attention a lot to what they're
Mm,
doing. With self-publication, I guess COVID was the time that really started it, initially cemented it for me in a big way, because lockdown was, 2 or 3 years.
mm,
And not going to Brisbane, not seeing family, being at home, I wasn't bored. But I thought it's either now I'm going to take charge, I'm going to get this creative control, I'm going to self-publish a few, which I did, 3 or 4 books. And it was exciting because there was plenty of time and quality time to do it.
Yes.
I didn't
Yeah.
have to run out in the car. I didn't have to go gallivanting. We had to come home from the shopping centre and wash our hands and
Yes. Yeah.
be safe. But I was writing a lot and I was contacting self-publishing services, and that's what happened with me.
Hmm.
Just to
Yeah,
hold
because of
the book in
course,
my hand.
yeah, a lot of publishers sort of shut their doors at that time as well. But I actually think, if you look on the positive side of things, COVID and that enforced downtime was a blessing for writers and for authors, because the way I looked at it, you either wrote or you baked sourdough. Um, I think, and there's only so much
Very fortunate.
sourdough.
I guess I was very fortunate too, because to be truthful, I was retired. I
Mm,
wasn't full-time working. I wasn't teaching online. I didn't have to go and visit the families. In fact, it took a lot of pressure off me to think
mm.
I've got to go down for the 3 days, pack the car, get to Brisbane, spend time rotating around the families and coming back. It was just like I'd wake up in the morning and think, I can concentrate on this.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So yeah, really, it was sort of like a blessing in disguise for you with your writing career in a way as well, wasn't it? So yeah, no, that's fantastic. So you've certainly achieved a lot. As we said, you've got a long and varied list of titles, and I see you in social media at book launches and supporting other authors, and you're out and about at bookshops and posting about it. So you've achieved a lot in the years that you've been involved in the industry. And I also know that you're active in a lot of writing groups and a lot of writing associations, and you participate in competitions. Like you really grab every opportunity that you can. So with that in mind, with how much that you've done, what's one milestone that you're hoping to reach as an author that you have not yet achieved? What's your ultimate goal?
Yeah, my ultimate goal really is just to have a picture book or a book, a middle grade book in every bookstore.
Oh, I love that.
I know that with my self-publication titles, I do go to bookstores and I do give copies away to libraries and I go to visit schools and all that. It's just so nourishing for me. But
Mm.
how awesome would it be to go down to Dymocks or to go down to, some of the independent bookstores, or to be surprised by, there's my book on the shelf.
Yes,
I
yeah.
guess in order for that to really happen, I have to receive a traditional contract.
Yeah, or push it with your local. Like there are some independent bookstores that
Mhm.
go above and beyond to support self-published authors. So I've mentioned before our local independent bookstore in Canberra, the Book Cow at
Mhm.
Kingston. Fantastic. Like that, they'll take the self-published authors, they'll take the hybrid, they'll take the traditionally published authors. And Peter, who's the owner of the Book Cow, he goes above and beyond. And I know that there are other booksellers
Mhm.
out there as well that are just as happy to support self-published authors as well. It is a little bit trickier for them with payments and ordering and that sort of thing, but I think if they're there to support all of us, they go that extra mile to do
And
that,
up
which
up
is
on the range here, I have a shout out to Rosetta Bookshop in Mullaney,
mm,
the Little Book Nook in Palmwoods. We've got Annie's books at Peregian Beach, even Harry Hartog's. And
yes.
as you say, I'm very much a supporter of the local community. So
Mm,
I've been to some of these other shops, and they do require a good 50% commission.
yes.
So that's the thing that some people might not know. And I'm sharing that today because it's very much upfront. If you've got a book for $24,
Hmm.
they will take $12.
Yeah.
So for me, in my stage of life, Kelly, um, it's not as urgent because I have had a full career of teaching and a superannuation.
Mm,
I do expect that the bookshops that I love will support me and they will take their commission. But it's just getting it out there and talking to people too. And, it's not always about money.
yes.
You know,
Yeah. It is,
yeah.
like you said. I mean, to see the joy that your story brings to, at least, even if it's just one other child, I
Mm.
think is enough. I saw somebody, I can't remember who it was now, but they posted on social media just the other day that they'd received their self-published author, and they'd received just a letter from a mother of a child who'd read her book saying, "This book of yours, this is my child's favorite book. They asked for it to be read every night." And it's self-published, and just that is just like, what, I've made that difference with one person. And I think it's about the legwork, definitely, but it's also about believing in
Mm.
yourself.
Can I
um
share one little story that happened to me recently?
yes,
Because I
please.
do sell my books at the Montville Market and the Mapleton Market.
Mm.
And recently at Mapleton, I had two children come up to me having a look at the books. And the little boy looked at the book and he said, "I think I know you." And I said, "Oh, what's your name?" And we chatted. And I said, "What school do you go to?" And he said, "Malula State School." "Oh, yeah, that's right. You're the poet who came into our classroom. I was in grade two. And
Oh,
you
wow.
came and did a talk, and I remember that." And so he's in grade five now. And
Wow.
what was so special was I was so thrilled that he did remember. And we talked a bit about that. And, those are the connections that I just love. You can't have those sometimes when
Yes.
you're not with people.
No, exactly. And how wonderful, like year two, you must have, there must have been something you said, something you did, you maybe answered a question that he had, or made him feel like he was seen and heard, and he's remembered that.
Mm,
So,
mm,
and I think that's that, particularly children's authors, but everybody, that's why we do that, is just to bring a little bit of joy or build a connection with, with one other person. I think
mm.
is money's nice too, but that is a really nice, like an intrinsic feeling, I think. So you would definitely remember the bad old days where self-published books were actually not always the best quality. And I think there's been a huge shift in recent years with the quality of self-published books. I used to say years ago, I'd pick up a book, and I used to say, look, I could tell if this was self-published. Just, you look at the staples in the spine, where the spine should be, and that sort of thing, and you knew. These days, though, um, you're hard pushed picking the difference between, just by sight alone and by the story, picking a self-published book. Um, so things are really quite different um, these days. Like we know that, but not everybody does. So, what do you believe are the key qualities that make somebody an author, really, regardless of how they publish their work? Because I always say, look, if you write, you call yourself an author as well. But what do you think the key qualities are?
I think, Kelly, the key qualities for me are a driving passion. I think
Mm.
that passion results because you love it, you persist, you show up every day, you work hard. I've always
Mm.
believed in working hard. um, the quality I'm still trying to learn is patience. I think with authors, we need patience because it doesn't all happen at once.
Yeah.
And to immerse yourself in children's genres, different ones, everything from hardboard books to junior fiction, middle grade YA. I think
Mm.
that it's fine to say, "Oh, look, I'm a writer of picture books," but I think really all authors should start to spread themselves and read other children's books and different styles
Absolutely.
and pay attention to the layouts, pay attention to the illustrations, pay attention to what really you're surprised by when you turn the pages. And, it becomes your passion. It's just something that you find the gold in those little stories.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what motivates me to get up in the mornings.
Mm.
I'm very blessed to be able to say that because I honestly believe it. I know I had a teaching career and I used to get up in the morning and enjoy going into a classroom.
Mm.
I didn't really like all the marking, but I disciplined myself over many, many years to have to do it. You have to get through the piles and, have different ways. But with authors and children's books, for me, it's really about the passion. I love it.
Yeah. And I think you do have to have that. I've said to my own clients, it's like, the minute you start pulling out your manuscript and going, oh, I have to write this, you actually need to put it away and do
Mm,
something else for a little bit. You have to enjoy what you're writing yourself and enjoy reading it back and going, this is wonderful, and look forward to your writing sessions each
mm,
day and to finding ideas and everything. So yeah, that passion, I think definitely would be a key quality of an author. I think a passion for children's literature or literature in general, depending on your genre. So um, even though, so we've just said, self-published or author-published, as some people say, those books are markedly better than they used to be in terms of quality. Um, and I would add that is usually at the expense of the author there. Um, that the quality is there most of the time, but the inequality still persists no matter what. So if we were to put you in charge of how all authors, traditionally and self-published, are recognised in the literary industry and the book industry, what would you do to sort of advocate for or ensure equality?
mm. I think that self-publishing groups need to be recognised in
Mm.
petitions, in correspondence, in even author pen pal relationships, which I found a little
Mm.
bit of stigma there. It's not until you ask someone, am I able to submit a self-published book, that you get a comment. So I think for awareness in critique groups, self-publishing awareness in writers groups, conferences, I just
Mhm.
make it very known to the public that, look, this is a strange comparison, Kelly. I don't know how these random ideas come to me, but they do. So I was thinking about it too, because I've given birth to 4 children, very blessed to have 4 natural births. But, I could have had 2 or 3 cesareans. I would have still had a beautiful baby. So the method of natural versus cesarean, there's 2 different approaches, 2 different ways of
Mm.
delivering. And somehow I think with traditional and self-publication, you've got 2 different methods. Um, both of them are equally valid. And I think
Yes.
that traditional publishing has had a longer, perhaps, push in the community and more
Mm.
recognized. But I'd like to think that self-publishing authors can also be recognized too.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. I mean, it's different processes, but the end result is the same. You still have a book, a story, a passion, something to share. So, yeah, absolutely right. And I think it's just a matter of just repeating that rhetoric and just keep saying to people it's the same thing. It's about the book. It's not about the way it was written or the way it was published. So Marg, you have an absolute wealth of experience, and I'm very honoured to have you in a couple of groups that I run, and just the little tidbits and little bits of information that you provide everybody. So it's huge wealth of experience, and an encyclopedia of advice that you could give, and we could sit here for hours while you gave that. But if you had to, and I'm going to make you do it anyway, just choose one tip or one piece of advice. What's the best piece of advice that you would give to somebody who is just thinking about or just starting out in a self-publishing journey today?
Mm. I would do your research. I would know what to expect. And if you don't
Mm.
understand what to expect, find another author that's self-published something and be prepared to work.
Yes.
It's not for the faint-hearted. I'm a very conscientious worker. So if you're not prepared to perhaps find an illustrator or an editor or pay a bit of money for a designer or learn a new
Mm.
technique. So there is a little cost, definitely, but it's very rewarding if you like that creative finger in all the pies and
Mm.
take some initiative. So do your research.
Yeah, it is. Some people have said that that they enjoy the self-publishing. Yeah, but yes, it's challenging and it's a lot of work. But you do, as the author, retain that creative control
Mm.
as well, which you don't get a lot of the time if you are traditionally published. You're just
I'm yet to have that happen, so I can't completely compare, but I know from my other friends who have been traditionally published, I hear
mm,
they're telling me, and then I just share my journey with people who are interested too.
yeah, absolutely. And some people you might not have time for all that work. And as we said, though, it doesn't matter who has the creative control or what process you've used. At the end of the day, there's a story
Mm.
that's there to share, and that should be the focus, really. So thank you so much. But before we go, um, can you please let people know how they can get in touch with you, how they can book you for presentations? I know you do school visits and library visits, and most importantly as well, how people can get hold of your books and purchase your books and support you in what you do.
Sometimes people send me a message on my website. With schools, I've found it's often by word of mouth. I will send out an email letter and with a flyer and a poster and my ASA rates, and then I'll
Hmm.
wait for the school principal or deputy to get back to me. So it's very much, I either go to the school myself in person or I just send an email. And I'm on Instagram. My website is just mjgibbs.com.
Okay, nice and
My
easy. Yes.
Instagram is just Marg_Gibbs. And
Perfect. So
on
Marg
Instagram,
underscore Gibbs and
yeah, and then
mjgibbs.com.
yeah, that's right,
Perfect.
Kelly. Thank you.
Perfect. Excellent. Thank you again, Marg. It's been lovely. And we'll catch everybody later.
Thanks, Kelly. Bye bye now.
Bye.